Hey, it's your girl Mel. This is the after show where my guest is dental hygienist Miss Noelle Feains.
Hey.
Hey, tell me those 3 tips real quick.
Well, the 3 tips are: make sure you brush twice a day, 3 to 5 minutes, floss every single day. And if you have bad breath, get to the dentist because you need to be checked out.
That might be that gingivitis, huh?
Ooh.
And then we also have Patton is in the building, ShopTalk crew.
Hey.
She said, hey, she here. Today we talked about several different things. I mean, a ton of different things. We talked about don't let your Saturday night walk be your Sunday morning talk, which was more so of you kicking it, pimping, praising. You kicking it on Saturday night, doing your thing. You in church on Sunday morning, and then you want to talk about what somebody else did in the church building on Saturday night, and you was right there with them. Before we actually recorded this show, we were talking to Pat, and Pat had some good words. Go ahead. Preach. I'll back up.
Well, we were talking about potholes and fog, but just in knowing that, often that's being judgmental, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't there, if you were there as well, then what were you doing there? To be able to see what somebody else was doing.
Word.
But we were talking about potholes and fog. And sometimes when you have had some experiences with driving and dodging potholes, then you know to watch for the potholes. But when fog comes into place, it makes it even harder to see the potholes. And we brought that up because we were talking about being able to communicate with people and how the eyes of folk, eyes can be deceptive. And we are to try the spirit by the spirit. So we could be talking, I could be talking to you or somebody else, and nobody knows, especially if it's the opposite sex,
Right.
what we're talking about, and then they want to carry it somewhere else.
Because that's perception, something that was given off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we had a whole lot of off-screen communication on that. But so what do you think, Noelle?
Well, I think that our lives individually should be that. If you're going to serve the world, serve it. Put all your heart in it. And if you're going to serve God, do that. Put your whole heart in it. He said you're going to love one or hate the other. So you can't serve 2 masters.
Well, I heard that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's get this out the way because off screen, no, she don't have a weave.
No,
That's her hair.
I want y'all to know this lump right here, that's just my hair, that little wave.
I'm like, well, that did look like that. So the looks can be deceiving, right?
Yes.
Because it looked like a little track there, but that's just a little hump in your
Right. All mine.
All right.
Yeah,
Not that we were talking. You were the one that brought
I brought it up. Because I was
you were looking on the screen.
Because I was...
When she left, I was going to be like, oh, Noelle got tracks under her hair.
She know better than that. But yeah, it can be deceiving.
Absolutely. See, and you looked at that yourself.
Right. Because
you saw that reflection yourself.
I've actually watched TV like the other day. It was just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Queen Latifah on TV. And I was like, is that what her real hair or does she got a track? And so I was telling the person I was talking to, I said, she got a track. Because I seen this lump. Prejudging.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm here and I'm looking. I'm like, I got that same lump.
I got that lumpy lump.
And this is my hair.
See, you worried about things that ain't even that important at all.
But it's just, it's interesting how we will get understanding on judging a matter.
Mm-hmm.
You were judging her matter and you got on the lump and you ended up with the lump.
But I had to clear, I had to clear my matter up.
Yeah, we got it together on ShopTalk. We got it together. We talked about the pulpit being sacred.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find is that still going on? As far as like where you couldn't run through, remember younger, you couldn't run through the pulpit or anything. If anybody wanted to speak, you had a guest speaker or something like that. You passed the microphone, they were down on the floor or they were over at the podium where they did the announcements. Now, do you ladies find that in the churches now, is it still sacred in your church or in your church? Or
well, what I found is
or are politicians coming up there speaking behind where the pastor should be at?
Well, one of the things that I found in the church that I teach at is that the pastor is very particular about the pulpit. That's a holy place.
Good.
It's a holy place. So even her granddaughter may want to run around, you know, like during church service, but she has her trained to know you do not step up in this pulpit.
So it's still being taught.
It's
Good.
still
What
being
about
taught.
yours?
Well, you know what? I don't know about everybody in mine. I just know that with people in particular, like you said, we were raised a certain way.
Mhm.
So when you even enter that space, if that's the way that you were raised, you know that you're very prayerful of your
Right.
very presence in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So it's in it's in the training. It's in the training.
It's in that manual.
Yeah, it's in the training.
So at least in your church or where you teach
But
at,
you
they're
have
still
to
teaching.
but you have to understand, you got old heads and you got new heads. Now I'm not calling
Old heads would be your seasoned folk.
and
New heads, they still using salt and pepper. Go ahead.
right. And the pastor that I teach under would be considered an old head.
Mhm.
Not that she's old, but she's more seasoned.
Okay.
Then you go somewhere else, somebody fresh out might not have that same discipline because it wasn't taught to them.
Discipline, a very good word. Thank you. So the word for today is discipline. You heard it, discipline. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine that you know as well. He said he stopped going to church because when he went to church, he was distracted. And the distraction was the come as you are rule, where everybody's kind of just coming as they are. He said, well, one girl went to, get up and she was in worship, he believes. He said, but his mind was somewhere else when he saw her thong outside of her jeans. Up, the top of her jeans.
Where he could see the imprint. Mm-hmm.
No, he could see the panties. The
Right,
jeans were
correct.
low because they got the low rise. It was out. Word. So
Wow.
he said that he stopped going because his mind wasn't in the right place. So this whole come as you are thing, how do you feel about that?
Wow.
We ain't judging. I just want an opinion.
Well, one thing that I say is that maybe that could have been addressed, because that is the purpose for the usher ministry. If they were still up, you supposed to be ushering is a ministry. So you're to be keeping things in perspective. So if you've seen that, you would go to that person and say, excuse me, honey, can you pull your shirt down? Or even another saint within there.
Well,
just
what
to
if her
keep
shirt wasn't down and it was down as far as it could go? I mean, it wasn't up and it was down as far as it can go.
Let them know what's going on. Because they may not have known.
Okay, now here's, I'm just going to go ahead and act up just a little bit.
Okay.
When you say come as you are is just that, come as you are. But I got to be honest, I know some people that actually iron those clothes the night before, or they pretty much plan to wear exactly what they're wearing. So that wouldn't be a come as you are to me. That would be, I planned this outfit and oh well.
With some people, it's a social. It's still in training. A lot of people don't have, the understanding that another person has, and they have to grow to that. But at the same time of your growth, you have to be taught.
Exactly.
And being taught means there is one there that is led. You got to be led by the Spirit in order to even approach somebody about a situation like that. And for that brother that left the church altogether, I would have suggested that maybe he took and sat on the first pew, sat up front so that he's not distracted by anybody else that comes in.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So since you brought that up, the problem is this. He usually sits in the balcony. Well, now at this church, they don't allow you to sit in the balcony. You have to go where the ushers tell you to go. Now, I have an issue with that because I'm a balconier as well. And you're putting me in here, and I don't like being in closed space, places or spaces anyway. So, well, according to the pastor, you have to sit here. I don't want to sit there. I don't want to be closed in. I need to be on the edge, or let me go where I won't be distracted, because I'm easily distracted. So usually when I go to church, I go right up in the balcony and I can hear what he has to say. I'll hear the message and eliminate the mess. Okay?
There you go.
And he wasn't allowed. They were telling him, you have to sit
That
here.
same thong could have been in the balcony.
It could have been, but if you were the first one, your focus and the way that it's set up.
Oh, you mean the way the balcony? So sitting in the first seat of the balcony.
You can't see. All you see is just the pulpit. Mm-hmm. You just see the pulpit. You see him, you hear him, and then you're gone. So he ended up not going. I was shocked. I didn't know why he stopped going. But then he told me he was thoroughly distracted. so it didn't work.
Now, I was at a facility, in a waiting area, at a facility just the other day, and believe it or not, the individual was an usher. And he was saying how, the ushers are like the first ministry that you walk into a church. And
I call them the first line of defense.
Right, and which is real, because that's what it's all about, for real. But he was saying that we don't tell people where they need to sit. We ask them, where would you like to sit?
Good, because you don't know folks' personal problems. They might be claustrophobic, whatever the case may be.
I'm like you. I got to sit on the end. If you put me in the middle, I'm tore up. I can't concentrate. I can't do anything.
Now, I have come in contact with some ushers that need an in-service.
I think they need training. That's something you need to have training
on. They do some training, but they do some training on like signals of whether they need a fan and stuff like that. But some of them need some personality kind of stuff. Just because you want to be active, it doesn't mean that that's your ministry. I think people need to be who they're purposed to be. And you want them active, but you don't want to just put them in a place that they are not people. They will run the people out. If that's not their ministry. Everybody has value, and it is actually observing to see where is your best fit. It's like a puzzle. Now, have you ever seen that you try to force the wrong piece of the puzzle in a puzzle?
It won't fit.
Listen, and guess what you could do? You can destroy the piece that it won't even fit where it belongs.
They just stopped going to the church.
It won't even fit in the spot that it belongs because it's so frayed at the end now.
Or bent. Injured.
Yeah. Broken.
Broken. Preach! Won't he do it? We talking up in here today.
This is real. This is real. And that's the one thing that when the Bible tells us to watch as well as pray. And that doesn't mean look all around, because a lot of stuff are distractions. It's just try the spirit by the spirit. So we need to be more spiritually in tune so that our watch is more attentive.
And that's the reason why I said that the usher is a ministry. The finance is a ministry.
That's right.
The pulpit is a ministry.
That's right.
The choir is a ministry.
That's right.
And these need to be governed by not people,
that's right,
but by God.
That's right.
And if it's not governed by people or God, that's how the enemy can infiltrate and destroy the whole thing.
That's right.
And for some reason, I'm seeing the millennial kingdom, if you will, where how it's built, that they have certain doors, you got an east, west, south gate, but at the certain doors, they have army people there or somebody watching that door. So I look at the sanctuary as the same thing, because the ushers are to protect what comes in. You need to be spiritually discerning.
That's right.
So everything has a purpose within the ministry, but we can't know this unless we allow God to set it up. So many churches have been set up by man, and God not leading that millennial kingdom. And even in our choir, we have to look at the song is a ministry.
That's right.
But if we playing Najee on the keyboard and the old saints don't know what Najee is, you understand what I'm saying? So now you got a worldly spirit rolling through.
But all the young folks, they know. They're like, hey,
and that's the reason why we have those offices there, so we can recognize those things and shut it down. But when you have people who are not looking for that or on that same page, you can't shut it down when you got the enemy. We need to be prayerful, and I'm speaking of the head starting, needs to be prayerful who is put into office.
Yes.
Or who he sets forth to decide who goes into office. By prayer and supplication.
Absolutely. Right. And I agree with you 100%.
Let the church say.
Yeah.
Amen. Word. Hey, listen, if you want more on this, you can always go back to blogtalkradio.com/ShopTalk with Mel. Visit our website is shoptalkwithmel.com. Hear more with Miss Vegas. She hung out with us. Pat came in at the end. We doing what we doing, but the $1 million question is this: is your church being infiltrated? Watch out now.
All right.
You heard it. Any last words?
Peace.
Try the spirit by the spirit.
Find you, embrace you, most importantly, always love you. This is Shop Talk, baby.